Thank you for joining, everyone. We wanted to take some time today to talk through what we consider to be some lessons from the field in implementing Aforza in the form of a top 10. So we'll go through them one by one, and I'll just give some descriptions of what I mean by each, and we'll take it from there. So let's start off with number one, use the product. Now, that might sound obvious, but what I really mean here is leverage the time and effort that we've put into building a specific data model and logic for the consumer goods industry and use the product out of the box as is as much as possible. What this allows you to do is number one, avoid loads of complexity that goes into doing a custom build, right? It's easier to maintain, and it's going to bring more value and allow you to take advantage of upcoming improvements in the roadmap as well. Secondly, it's going to help you get your users live as quickly as possible, really reducing that time to value. So I can't stress it enough. Use the product as is as much as you can. It's completely configurable as it's on the Salesforce platform. But when you start introducing all kinds of quirky customizations, not just with the Forza, but with any cloud application, you end up with not only custom code and custom development that you need to maintain, but you add complexity to the overall solution. So I can't stress it enough. Try to take a 90-10 ratio when doing onboardings, which is a bit higher than the 80-10, but we're able to do that since we've built this specifically for the consumer goods industry. Number two, make pricing a top priority. So of course, you're going to have a number of things and a number of functions that you need to implement with Aforza. You know, we do retail execution, trade promotion management, logistics. But really what's at the core of a lot of those processes is pricing. And every company is going to do this a little bit differently. Of course, you might have a product hierarchy where you have brand categories and then brands and then down to SKUs with different levels of discounting for different customers within each one of those levels. But when you tackle pricing first, it really makes everything else a lot easier following it. It's usually one of the more complex areas of an implementation. So I really suggest eating the frog right up front, finding a strategy of how you're going to do pricing, how you do it today, and how you're going to map and adopt that into the platform. Number three, know your devices. Aforza is a cross operating system application that runs on both iOS and Android for the mobile offline device. Now, Apple with the iPhone and with the iPad, there are a limited number of devices that we have a pretty base and liberal level of specification. But obviously, the faster the phone, the faster the application works on. But knowing your devices that you have, especially when you have a field team that's executing across hundreds of users, across Android devices, knowing the devices that are in the field will save you a lot of maintenance. This doesn't just apply to Aforza, but any application that you're deploying. Knowing what devices you're using will save you a lot of time in trying to get your applications running across your field teams. So just knowing them right up front, being able to manage them is going to help you quite a bit. Number four, offline mindset. Don't lift and shift. One of the really cool things that Forza has that you rarely see is a fully offline execution capability. This includes pricing offline. This includes executing promotions offline, and a user does not have to be connected at all. Now, this is usually quite a mind shift for companies that are coming from fully online applications, where you might have to call out to different systems during your visits or call out to different systems doing orders. And if you carry that over to a Forza or any other fully offline application, you'll find that some of your processes need to really be rethought. So taking this mindset of offline first right up front is really going to help you in defining what that new future process looks like for your field reps, and will help them do their jobs a lot faster, help empower them, will actually help you win a lot more business. So it's one thing to bear in mind. Next is data access. And this is particularly important for offline mobile. Now, Aforza is a custom React Native application that runs on iOS and Android. However, it leverages the great Salesforce API to access all the data that you have in a Forza desktop, which sits on top of Salesforce's platform and leverages a custom data model. Now, to get your pricing information, your product information, your customers, your visits, that application runs a sync before you go offline and go into the field. And that sync is using Salesforce data. So if a user is not able to access something within Salesforce, since Forza completely respects the data and security access of Salesforce, it's only going to pull in what security has been set up for. So the same data and access methods that are required for Salesforce also apply to Forza and the offline app. So that's quite an important point to consider when deploying your field teams. Number six, segmentation. Now, segmentation is right at the core of how Aforza works for pricing, for product access, for visits, for promotion eligibility. It's really at the center of everything within our application, both in desktop and mobile. And this is usually, along with offline access, fully offline in the field, quite a mind shift for new subscribers as well. It's an extremely powerful tool that allows you to dynamically automate how pricing is driven for your customers, how promotions are driven, how visits are planned and executed for your field reps. And one example of this is if a company is within a certain proximity of a landmark, or if they've purchased a certain amount of a product, they can then automatically move between different segments and then be eligible for new pricing and new promotions. And this fundamentally needs to be at the core of the thinking when the design of your pricing and promotions is done. And it's important to really understand how segmentation works and bring your staff and bring your business leads on this journey of segmentation to help them fully take advantage of its capabilities. Next is terminology. I don't think this applies only to Aforza, but really any project that you're doing with different customers within an industry or cross industry. Having the same terminology is going to save you loads of trouble. Specifically within consumer goods, there are a number of different terms that customers might use for promotion. Some call it trade spend, some call it promotions, some call them campaigns. This is just one example, but this applies to all areas of functionality. So if you're aligning terminology with your SIs, with your software vendors, and with the business right up front, it's going to save you a lot of time and make things run a lot more smoothly. Number 8 is know the landscape and know the rules around it. So within consumer goods, normally, especially in the enterprise, there's going to be some type of ERP. There might be a data lake. There might be other systems in the landscape, not just one platform on its own. So understanding where data needs to be mastered right up front, understanding the data residency requirements across that landscape as well is going to be quite important, especially when it comes to pricing and promotions. Understanding where things need to be configured, where they need to be mastered, who has access to them, when and where and why, is gonna help things run a lot more smoothly down the line. Number 9, use the roadmap. Walk that roadmap tightrope. Aforza is it's a cloud hosted application, and we update our app with loads of functionality 3 times a year. Once in the spring, once in the winter, and once in the summer. Once in the spring, once in the summer, once in the winter. And with each release comes a load of functionality of new features. Um, so the way to leverage this is when you're onboarding, if there's a set of functionality that you would love for your users to have, but the maybe the product is has it planned in the roadmap, would suggest not building that or configuring it custom on top of the product, but look down the line to the roadmap to see what's coming to be able to bring that in. And this is free, right? This comes with the Forza. Every single customer that has a Forza is going to be able to take advantage of new features that are coming down the pipe. So just know the roadmap, really leverage it and drive excitement around it, and take advantage of the free features that are coming in the future. And lastly, love your team. You know, this doesn't just apply to us, but whatever you're doing, whatever projects you're doing, whatever onboarding and implementations you're doing, uh, know know that everyone around you has something to offer. Love working with them. Know their strengths and work towards them, and you'll have a great time. Thanks for taking the time. I hope this was helpful, and looking forward to hopefully speaking with you all again soon. Take care.